What up, y'all? It is your boy Darius, and I'm back, y'all. So if you saw my last video, I did the ASAP and J. Cole track when ASAP dissed Drake on that song. Now this one says how Drake just got dissed by AsapRocky and J. Cole, which I don't think J. Cole dissed Drake. I could be wrong though when I react to it. So let's just see what he talk about. Let's get it, y'all.
The rollout for his long-awaited upcoming album, Don't Be Dumb. AsapRocky has released a brand new song called Ruby Rosary, and now with this track, as opposed to the cut he released before this, Taylor Swift, which was a fun banger with a super entertaining music video. This is a much darker cut and a way more serious moment for the future of hip-hop, because with this track, Rocky doesn't just further tease what has been going into this album that he has been working on for 6 years and seemingly raise the expectations higher once again. But he is dissing Drake on this track and making a significant power play against him that is going to have some crazy ramifications after this, because with this song, beyond merely taunting Drake like he did on his cut Hijack, Rocky actually unleashes his lyrical sword as he responds to the disses that were thrown out against him on Family Matters and his looming tensions with Drake with some serious bars. But before we can look at what he said and see how it responds to Drake and rains more havoc onto the rap world, we have to look at the build-up to how Rocky made this moment all the more menacing, not just for the song itself, but for this haunting diss and warning statement against Drake, because just from the beat alone, which is produced by the one and only Alchemist, as this is one of Uncle Al's biggest production credits since doing the beat for Kendrick Lamar's genre-stopping diss track Meet the Grams. Seeing the Alchemist appear alongside another one of Drake's biggest enemies at the moment has to send some sort of shockwave through his spine, just because of how horrifying the last time a similar thing happened was for Drake, and just from how much of a downward spiral it sent his entire career and reputation down. But this time around, Rocky isn't revealing that Drake is hiding a kid or anything of that sort. But this doesn't mean that he doesn't go into him, because during this track, over one of the most menacing beats we have heard him rap over and with one of the best written verses he has delivered in years, Rocky drops a series of scathing bars towards Drake, which really lay out where the two are at and what Rocky is preparing to do against him when things really heat up seemingly, because during the track, in Rocky's first verse, which in of itself is this hypnotic experience with how smooth his delivery is over this intense yet ghostly beat, he sets up what's about to come later with the bars. People want smoke with me, tell him push up Hercules, Hercules tell him push up, tell him pull up 33. And now with these bars, Rocky is merely taunting Drake and setting the stage for what's to follow, as he nods to the first song Drake released in the entire saga of his beef with Kendrick Lamar and everyone else who came at him, which was of course push-ups. And pretty much by alluding to this, Rocky is joking about this moment and telling Drake to at this point, after showing that after all of the setup on that track, which of course as we all saw there was absolutely no payoff to his words, Rocky is jokingly making him double down on those sentiments, and when we look back on them, what was a ridiculous track because of how bad it aged for Drake and everything he was trying to push on it, but now building on this and actually letting off real lyrical fire. On the second verse of this track, Rocky's pen gets more intense, and during one of the most passionate verses we have heard from him in a very long time, Rocky directly responds to Drake's Family Matters, because if we go back to that track, and remember the bars that Drake threw Rocky's way, which threatened him and pretty much had Drake saying that he was going to destroy him if Rocky took this any further. And then also pouring more salt on this, Drake tried to rip up his relationship with Rihanna by bringing up his and her past. Rocky directly responds to this by first off acknowledging Drake's threat about trying to destroy his career and life, and then takes this sentiment and throws it right back on him as Rocky questions how Drake could even be capable of doing such a thing considering the absolute mess of his career and life at this point. And this is honestly crazy that Rocky is saying this, because while many rappers I'm sure are thinking about that Drake will never get back to the place he was once at because of how poorly he has handled the aftermath of this beef, this is the first time we are hearing somebody make fun of just how bad the past few months of his career have been on a microphone, and now following this up and adding more validity to all of these disses. Rocky goes on a tangent filled with some really clever wordplay where he first says, "Cut everything but the family ties." And now this is a super layered bar that seems to have multiple meanings, as on the surface, it is alluding to the fact that Drake has cut everybody off except the strange people who he keeps around and refers to as his OVO family. But then this is also Rocky paying homage to Kendrick Lamar and using his presence to heighten the message he is sending to Drake, as he is directly referencing the Kendrick and Baby Keem track of the same name, where looking back on it, Kendrick was clearly talking about Drake on the second verse of that track. And now Rocky does not stop here when it comes to using Kendrick and holding him up as a beam to destroy Drake in an even greater way than he ever could on his own, as in a few lines after this, He comes back around to this Family Ties reference and says, "Cut the stuff, cut the lies, words to the wise. Who in your top 5? Ha ha, F your top 5. And now this is again calling back to the Kendrick bar from that track where he is talking about how he destroys everybody's top 5. But then on top of this, it's also looking at the grim state Drake's career is in, as it alludes back to Push-Ups once again and the sample at the end of the track, which features none other than DJ Academics, and his infamous clip where he says that his top 5 is Drake, 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 and Drake. And this is all super clever and well-connected wordplay from Rocky, and now continuing this lyrical strike. Rocky pushes this even more and lets us fully know that what we heard is really about Drake, as he responds to even more disses from Family Matters, where this time, he responded to where Drake said that he only gets hyped up for how he dresses, and that is the only reason why people even talk about him at this point, by rapping a super clever bar that alludes to the fact that his sense of style is unmatched in not just the rap world, but in all of pop culture. And then after this clever series of words that talk about how well he dresses, he ends the line saying, "I'm buried alive." So now Rocky shuts down this attack by just showing how good of an MC he is, as he flips a Drake song name back on his head, and at that, by referencing Buried Alive, he is once again referencing Kendrick Lamar, as this is a Kendrick Lamar interlude on Take Care, and on top of this, and adding even more to it, this was the song that Drake made a parody of to prelude the release of Family Matters, and by validating his sense of style through this bar as well, he melts a bunch of rebuttals down with this one line. And now closing this diss out, if all of that wasn't enough for you to believe that Rocky is calling out Drake, he says, "I heard dog talking funny like it's Family Guy," which is another bar that, just like Kendrick Lamar did on Like That, is using a fictional dog to try and place Drake down and make him look like this absolute joke, and this time instead of calling him Goofy like Kendrick did, Rocky is of course calling him Brian from Family Guy. And now with all of this, Rocky really did a great job of firing back to Drake and what he said on Family Matters. And with Rocky not just responding, but pointing the mirror back at Drake and letting him know just how bad of a state his career is in at the moment, I think it's a powerful angle to take, because it's the first time we are seeing another rapper acknowledge just how horrible things have gotten for Drake, and now making all of this worse for him. If the Alchemist beat and all of those bars were not enough, none other than J. Cole delivers the final verse on this track, and now with this being Cole's first verse in months, while Cole himself is just rapping his head off and is not directly dissing Drake or alluding to any of the drama that's been in the rap world for about the past year at this point, his feature being here is a power move from AsapRocky to make these disses sting all the more, because by flipping the guy who was once the last real MC on his side and having him appear on this track, which features a beat from the guy who produced the most insulting song ever made about you, and that features another rapper directly throwing disses at you, it's now grouping J. Cole into this bunch of rappers who are against Drake. And now Drake and J. Cole's relationship at this point needs to be really studied to see where these two actually stand. But regardless, what we can see from this track is just like what Future and Metro Boomin did on We Still Don't Trust You's track Red Leather. They are using the presence of Cole to stir the pot in this beef and make the odds against Drake stand even taller. So now with Rocky doing all of this to get back at the guy who won't seemingly leave him and his wife alone, and in the process is delivering an amazing song that embodies the pure spirit of hip-hop better than 99% of everything else that's dropped this year, I gotta hand it to him at this point, and Drake really better drop a diss or response to Rocky soon, because if he doesn't, things are gonna somehow only get worse for him as more rappers just continue to belittle his name and legacy. And now with all of this said, let me know, what do you think about this new track from AsapRocky, and do you feel like these disses were
Yeah, so I gotta say, I gotta get AsapRocky props for it, because I expect him to respond back to Drake, because all through the years he took shots at him and his wife Rihanna, which I expect that though. So I know people are gonna say, oh, Drake's not gonna respond because ASAP is nowhere close to his level, all that. So I don't know if Drake's gonna respond to it though, because ASAP is nowhere close to Drake's level. Let's be real about that though. So I'll keep my eyes out, see if Drake's gonna respond to it though, because I'm pretty sure Drake got something in the works though. Because I know he wants to go another round with Kendrick again, which I don't know if Kendrick's gonna respond to it or not. So I'll keep my eyes out, see what happens though. But I don't know where J. Cole and Drake at now. Are they still cool with each other though? There's some issues, because I'm hearing rumors that Wayne and Drake not cool with each other at all. So I don't know if there's any truth to that. So I'll keep my eyes out though. So yeah, guys, let me know in the comments what y'all think about this. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, y'all.